And remember, kids, the next time somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, they would.
Like they care about us, and even bodies in the cold. About to go, they body back in the soul. Blood's on the east, back in the cold. See how I'm playing, it's always ready to go. Only really show, depending on what I say. First, leaving you alone, get the fuck out of go. I'm leaving you alone. Hold me to the flames, entangle me in hope. Follow such a pain, and everyone choke. Give me reason to take my breath away.
What's going on, crew? I know this is a late night improv live, so we're going to go one more round of song, and then we're going to get started. Thumbs up and share, please.
I do not want to work, so I'm gonna work hard. In a peace be determined, dependent on texture that's present in luxury garments. I don't feel safe, so I'm raising an army. Existence enslaved to the market. Just needed some food in the apartment. Now I got blood on my hands. Now I got blood on my hands. Now I can see out my eyes. I ran at that all in my hands. See my little piece of pie. Left me with this face. Left me without sight. Now I can see that I'm now I can see that I'm now I can see that I'm my other experience. I cannot be trusted as under grave on this whole way beyond serious. Set inside with exterior. She wanna bribe me, he wanna get up inside me. Put on my pussy, I'm still on my top. My word is exhaustion like a badge of honor. Sobriety, try to tell me out the way. I step like I'm already hard-headed. My consumption, unethical, one-threaded. But my family do it, just all let it. It's hereditary. The Islamic bitch, I ain't a fool, but I doubt it. She ain't cool, so I blindly follow and need to. With the pilot, and I can agree who should be flying. The plane that leave you in a bit of a paper, no grillo. Gonna feel like it's on a little. Every dog gotta say it's a jibble. When this shit hit the tail, don't be simple. In a bit of a paper, no grillo. Gonna feel like it's on a little. Every dog gotta say it's a jibble. When this shit hit the tail, don't work. So I'm gonna work harder. In a busy determined, dependent on texture that's present in luxury garments. I feel safe, so I'm raising an army. Existence enslaved to the market. Just need some food in the apartment. Now I got blood on my hands. Now I got blood on my hands. Now I got blood on my hands. It's constantly blood on my hands. It's blood on my hands for Sudan. From the river to sea to the land. Baby, sacrificial lamb. Then I wake up and do it. Yeah, then I wake up and do it again. I wake up and do it again. Wake up and do it. Wake up and do it. Wake up and do it.
What's going on, Conscious? Shut up. What's going on, Conscious Girl? Hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna blow this all the way up. There's a lot going on in the world. I know half the Conscious crew is asleep right now and gotta go to work. And I know y'all got jobs because y'all be sending me too much goddamn money to not be fully in damn employed, baby. Okay, so stay asleep if your ass is asleep, child. Catch the replay. Before we get into the thick of this, You guys already know what we're here to talk about. Before we do so, please thumbs up the video until it's absolutely stuck. Thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another conscious crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary. So whether you're part of the Replay Gang, active with me in real time, or you are a Bush baby, I need you to swing and bang on that like feature. Also, if you enjoy everything that Kane does here, you can always donate to the platform at $Consciouztv on Cash App and or paypal.me/Consciouztv. And that's conscious with the Z on the end, spelled just how it is here on the channel. Also, make sure that you guys have your notification bell set to all. And last but not least, please share the stream out. Anywhere that you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF, I don't really give a damn where you lay the link. Just let them whores know. The real out live and Colin. With no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through. Oh,
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
all right, what is going on, Conscious Crew? Oh my God, I had the wrong motherfucking microphone connected this whole time. Jesus Christ. All right, can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, give me a 1 in the chat. What is going on, Auntie Trish? I am so happy that you are awake, darling. What's going on, Ian Gardner? Hey, boo. What's going on, somebody, mama? Yes, we are up, child. What's going on, Whitney? What's going on, Michelle? Hey, Todd. Todd, you had just crossed my mind when I started this live. I said, where is my damn Todd? And here Todd is, child. Yes, nobody else is going to do it. So, I got to come through and understand the goddamn assignment. I typically do not do a live stream this late. I don't have a lot of my rah-rah energy inside of me, but we are going to get into some things, okay? I also have something planned. It's going to be pretty apocalyptic, so I'm just putting, half of YouTube on notice, girl, to go ahead and grab your canned goods, go ahead and grab your bunkers and store up for the winter, because it's going to be really, 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 really cold coming this 2026. Okay? Yeah. All right. So before we get into the thick of this commentary, y'all, I want to talk to you guys about Dubai. Those of you who know that Dr. Reid and his camp are over in Dubai have been concerned about the doctor's safety. He is okay. He is fine. And you can also follow him on Facebook, because he will be giving you guys live updates on everything that's going on in Dubai. There's a lot of misinformation, and there is a lot of disinformation in terms of everything that's going on right now between Israel and Iran. All right, now Dubai is kind of dead smack in the middle of everything that's going on. There are bombs that are being intercepted, missiles that are being intercepted over Dubai's airwaves. This probably is why traffic control has shut down all movement out of Dubai. Right now, Reid nor anyone in Dubai can get a flight out as of now. They are canceling flights left and right for obvious reasons. I'm not sure if I would want to be in the goddamn sky either, while these Nugras and Nugarettes are throwing damn missiles, okay, to each other like this is a game of damn dominoes. All right. Also, there was an incident day before yesterday in Dubai where I guess shrapnel from either a bomb or a missile was intercepted and hit the Dubai airport, killing a civilian. Okay. But that was by accident. However, you guys may or may not know that Iran has also issued a statement basically telling the U.S. that U.S. citizens are not safe anywhere in the world, including over in the Middle East, and that we are not safe here in America either. Therefore, we are going to be operating with hyper vigilance. Shit look like it's about to get thick. We also know that because of Project 2025 and because of who the hell is in office, there's going to be some degree of a world war that is going to take place before this man is out of office. Whether this is the predicted biblical war, we have no idea considering what's already taken place. However, all of our heads need to be on a goddamn swivel. And I say, hey, baby, pray for everybody abroad and everybody at home basis. So I'm going to share an update from Reid's Facebook page. Okay. Dr. Reid updated his Facebook page 2 hours ago, and it says, my flight keeps getting canceled. The new one now saying disrupted. USA wants us to fill out documentation requesting to be evacuated. I'm thinking that they anticipate escalation after the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia was targeted. The U.S. consulate was targeted here in UAE. They intercepted it and debris fell and caused fire. Either they anticipate something or want to get us out before they do something that's going to provoke an Iranian retaliation on more U.S. assets that will either endanger civilians. Guess Iran doesn't care. They have 500,000 Iranians living here too. I'll keep posting updates for family, friends, and LRLers, you guys. So, yeah, Donald Trump is out here shook and scared that he's going to be assassinated, talking about he left plans of a plan girl behind just in case he's pop locked and finally dropped, which, you know, more than half of America wouldn't find that to be negative news per se, but moving along. So pray, you guys, for everyone over in the Middle East, including Iranians, including all U.S. civilians and everyone else who is abroad. It's nasty work right now. Okay. But so far right now, Dubai is practically safe. There's no direct targeting of Dubai. I also saw a list yesterday of the Middle Eastern countries that are in the red zones, and Dubai was not on that list. But of course, you know, this is war. Anything can happen. So when I heard from Dr. Reid earlier, he stated that the United States government is contemplating coming in and getting U.S. civilians. So the U.S. may move in, all right, and come and rescue all of the Americans abroad. But he'll keep you updated. So make sure that you guys follow him on Facebook and Instagram, and of course subscribe to him on YouTube. What is going on, Ray? Grand Rising and good morning. Now let me see here. I have another slide that I need to pull up, if I still even have this damn slide. I probably don't, know me. Let's see. Nope, not what I'm looking for. You guys, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Nope, that ain't what I'm looking for either. Okay, hold on, y'all. I gotta put this together real quick. Entangled me in hope. I should have been live while everybody else was awake, but I was sitting here watching Love Island, child, getting my entire life. My friend Reckless turned me on to Love Island, y'all. Love Island got me in a whole chokehold, child. I've been watching season 7 the past damn 3-4 days, and because they have like 37 damn episodes, it's taking me 3 almost a damn week to get through one damn season, but I am enjoying season 7. According to Reckless, season 7 is not even a popular or fan favorite season. It's the latest season, child. And apparently it's not popular, but I mean, I have been just enjoying everything and everybody so far, girl. These people got it going on, baby, in a desperate attempt to find somebody to love they sorry asses, girl. So if you guys have not checked out Love Island, check it out. If you want the ghetto hood ass version of it, go to Zeus. They have Love Cabin, and it is every bit of damn ghetto and hood. All right. Hold on, y'all. Almost done with this slide, child. And this is an improv live, so I'm so sorry, chill. Terrible people are off the planet because this guy is in office, right, Jeremy? It's a mess. But you know, they cheated their way into office, child, and he here, and he with all the shenanigans. And unfortunately, we're all being forced to go along with the ride. But you know, all things happen for the well of the righteous. So we just got to find the deeper reasons for why we in this position, and we got to do the work and extract the insight from an era like this, because nothing is without powerful wisdom and information. So, you know, there's great opportunity in what's taking place for us as a collective and for us individually. And it's going to definitely have to go beyond skin deep. All right. And that also is another discussion for another goddamn day. All right. So I don't know where the hell I want to start, y'all. It's a lot going on. So you guys know that the Bishop of the Arch in his back has decided to file what is in fact a frivolous lawsuit, and every licensed attorney on the planet and on YouTube is calling it just goddamn that. Because that's what the fuck it in fact is. All right. The bishop has decided, girl, that he wants half of the damn church sector to be defendants in the suit, and he is alleging everything from conspiracy to defamation to RICO, girl. Okay, I don't know whether this nigga think he is Diddy and this is a goddamn Diddy trial or what, girl. But he's definitely opened up a can of worms, and those can of worms have already and will continue to vindicate everyone who is listed as a defendant in this case. Now, since then, we have had conversations exploring the audio. So for those of you who have not had an opportunity to hear my last live stream, where I give you a play-by-play of the audios, you guys, if we even have to respond to this lawsuit, we'll have an opportunity to at least read direct transcripts regarding the audios in the filings potentially to come. But even if they don't come, check out my last live stream, girl, and you probably will have your bed rocked getting further details about what this conversation was between Bishop Bernard Jordan and Justin D. Edwards, who is a pastor who has operate adjacent to Bishop and Zoe Ministries. And based upon their conversations and based upon their exchange, they are in or was in a same gender loving consensual relationship. A better word for that would be an affair. Yes. Okay. Now that truth has to stir Bishop in such a way, child, that he actually believes that he is somehow a victim of something, which is crazy. But I don't want to make this live long, therefore I'm not going to go over what I've already gone over. So just make sure that you guys check out the last live, because this is pretty much going to be part 4 of my coverage of everything that's taken place. And I want to respond in this live to some things that I didn't get a chance to clarify in my previous live. And I also want to speak to some people's questions based upon comments that were left. All right. The first thing that I want to talk about is Bernard and Deborah. All right. Obviously, well, look, before I even get there, let's first and foremost talk about what this is that's taking place. I don't really know how people have managed to kind of not understand what the fuck they should be focused on as it relates to this controversy and drama that's been playing out regarding Bernard over the past 3-4 months that he's been in an active social media war with his ex-mentee, Dr. Larry Reid. But the conversations really are surrounding infidelity. Somehow there's been people who have been trying to minimize that by making that conversation around Bishop's alleged orientation, which nobody really gives a fuck about. Nobody actually cares about whether Bishop is pansexual, bisexual, whether he's a trisexual, whether he's trans attracted. What his orientation is in and of itself is not centerfold. The drama and the controversy and the conversations and dialogue that have been produced out of all of this have to do with a prominent bishop who has bragged about being faithful to just one woman for more than 4 decades. And yet there's literal, objective, empirical proof that that is in fact no way or in any shape actually true. Now, what obviously makes this completely scandalous is not only is Bishop a prominent bishop and who is married and who represents himself socially as a heterosexual man, but the man in question who he's entangled with or was entangled with is also a married man with child. Bless me. Bless me. Who's also with child and also is in the same line of work as Bishop. All right. AKA a pastor, a leader in the Christian church. So you have two men who are at surface glance out here doing, thank you so much, Michelle A., out here doing the Lord's work, out here with wives, safe to now refer to them as beards, with children, and who, according to their conversation that I have in my possession, that Dr. Reid has in his possession, have been behind their wives' back, which means that they've been behind their congregation's back, and despite both representing God, have attempted to be behind the Lord's back with their personal shenanigans. So once again, I want to clarify for anybody who happens to be confused, because I don't know why there are people who are out here on these social media streets who are creating conversations and reducing what's taking place to, oh, nobody should be trying to force the bishop out of the closet. I think that this is what the trash report was saying earlier on, as he was trying to make an attempt to knot all of this up, and he was just so pressed and disturbed and mentally ill. And I'm just like, this wasn't your conversation when you sat your ass down there at the Cheesecake Factory and heard those audios. This wasn't your conversation between you and any other party regarding what was expressed on those audios. So now, in the aftermath of you being an alleged pawn, all of a sudden now your narrative is that the coverage being provided and let's be honest, there's only been two people providing precise and accurate coverage, and that's been me and Dr. Reid. Your narrative is that nobody should be forcing. You know what nobody should be doing? Cheating on their goddamn wife. That's what someone shouldn't be doing. You know what somebody shouldn't be doing? Is sleeping with their subordinate. You know? You know what somebody shouldn't be doing? Is cosplaying as one thing while living a double life. Privately, secretly, discreetly, elsewhere, defiling their covens. You know, but you know, people conveniently changed their narratives and conveniently changed their positions, and it just really goes to show you how weak and frail these people are and how intentional they are about moving away from the truth because they're in their personal feelings. I was also told recently that my fellow content creator, compadre, King Jives, also reduced the conversation and centered it around sexuality. Oh, sexuality. Nobody should be, you know, trying to force anyone out of the closet. You bumbling fucking idiots. Are you dumb? Are you deaf? Or are you fucking stupid? How dare you? Literally know that the conversation and the scandal foundationally sits upon something called infidelity and deception. And then these fucking sissies go out of their motherfucking way to make it about a bitch being a fucking sissy. And I find this like unimaginable and practically intentional to do. Because if Bernard was anybody else, baby, it would be up and it would be stuck. But because Bernard is handing out lollipops and pipe dreams and PowerPoint presentations about how a bitch can go from a zero to a hero overnight, which still has not happened for not one single any of them. Everybody's being mighty soft and weird and stupid. Everybody's being an idiot now. If Bernard was that pastor out of Minnesota that sued the shit out of Jives and won, we wouldn't be here. If Bernard was TD Jakes just last year, surrounded by Diddy scandal, Dwayne Youngblood scandal, we wouldn't be here. You know, the church sector has spoken about everybody else so deeply. You know, have done the autopsy and done the forensics and have ripped people apart and put them back together again and explored every facet and aspect of their lives. And now all of a sudden, to the few raggedy motherfuckers in the church sector, when it comes to Bernard, things get real quiet. Real quiet. Real quiet. I also found Jive's position to be rather timely, considering that he was just on my platform a month or two ago dragging the fuck out of Bernard for 4 hours. That he was also on his own platform talking about why he's not falling for Bernard's bullshit and telling me how petty, low down, egotistical, and shady Bernard is. But because this drama features Larry, it's motivated a little bit of an interest in creating some type of cushioning or shield for Bernard, which once again, had Bernard been anybody else, maybe the sector would be pressing the entire motherfucking gas. And let's talk about it being anybody else. Because when I was doing my last live regarding AudioGate, and I did a Q&A at the end of that live stream, and someone said, well, Conscious, I want to ask you, how do you feel about King Jives saying that, you know, you and Bernard, girl, you and Larry shouldn't be forcing, you know, someone's orientation out of the closet. And I said, you know, that's so interesting, because King Jives have spent the last 3-4 years attempting to force Dr. Reid out of a closet that he believed Dr. Reid was in. He's completely mastered and majored in obsessing over where Dr. Reid's peen was or who it's been in, and has taken 50,011,000 opportunities over the last 3 to 4 years, investigating, speculating, and dissecting, inquiring, questioning, confronting, all types of questions regarding Dr. Reid's orientation. So it was just mighty interesting to me that all of a sudden, the person who has definitely utilized his platform to question, highlight, emphasize, illuminate, and prioritize dialogue around Dr. Reid's orientation was the very same person who had the audacity to in any way concern himself with rather someone else was doing that, while also simultaneously knowing that that is the very last thing that is happening. Because again, who actually gives a damn about Bernard's orientation? You can be bisexual and still in a committed relationship. You can be pansexual and still in a committed relationship. You can be any sexual and still be in a committed relationship. His orientation in and of itself is not a point of interest, at least not for me. And I don't believe that to be the case for Dr. Reid either. But last time I checked, doesn't the church sector specialize in curiosities around the wrongdoings of Christian leaders, the foul play of church bodies, whether that's the way the church abandons widows, whether that's the way the church facilitates and protects leaders who are abusing congregants, children, and the elderly. Last time I checked, the church sector is made up of nothing but a specialty and an interest in the dark side of the Christian religion, where all the nuts are bust, where all the crimes are committed, where all the inappropriate teens are turned into content and points of interest for the general population. That's the last time that I checked. I'm not even sure where the fuck the church sector even gets off on having a line to draw, when the only time they use a fucking number 2 pencil is when it's the line motherfuckers up on a docket so that they have something to go live regarding, to get a quick interview off of. I haven't known the church sector to have any ethical lines, moral lines. These people are the same people who have dug around and speculated over Matthew Stevenson's sexuality, Dr. Reid's sexuality, T.D. Jakes' sexuality, Clefo Dollar's sexuality. The church sector has explored all of John Gray's infidelities. What in the hell would be the goddamn difference between John Gray and Bishop Bernard Jordan? Is somehow Bernard Jordan exempt from being able to be at the center of conversations? Because I'm just trying to figure out where the pendulum swings. Because, you know, for me, I'm okay with the pendulum swinging from left to right. Even as somebody who knows Reid and has had a long relationship to Reid, I think it's perfectly fair that he ends up on the docket, that he ends up as a topic. But what I find interesting is the biasness of how people have no ethics and boundaries in terms of how far they will go to explore every facet of Dr. Reid's life, but will cherry pick through just how far they're willing to go and just how much interest they're willing to show to other figures, Christian and non-Christian. See, I love that people can use the word bias when it comes to me, but they always use it without substance, because over here, baby, we talk about everybody, including Dr. fucking Reid. We've criticized Dr. Reid over here. We've had to tug on Dr. Reid's wig. We can go from left to right, east, west, north, and south over here. But what I've noticed about the church sector is that depending on who it is and what the circumstances are, will determine if the church sector is lit up like a Las Vegas boulevard, or rather it'll look like a ghost town in the sector. And I'm definitely seeing a lot of ghost town behavior around this Bernard Jordan controversy, which I have to keep reiterating. It's interesting because when Bishop Jordan was aligned with Dr. Reid, the same sector that wants to put a Ziploc bag on it now, that their new leader is, maybe not who they thought he was the same sector that had everything to say about him and his son Manasseh when they were aligned with Reid. Oh yeah, baby. You couldn't tell the church sector that both Bernard and Manasseh weren't false prophets, that they weren't grifters and greedy and corrupted, as long as they were aligned with Dr. Reid. But now that Dr. Reid has dissolved his relationship to Bernard, and now that Bernard has needed to grift because he's only able to get 3.5 viewers in his live chats, and started handing out lollipops and candy yams to struggling ass church sector wannabes, all of a sudden everybody has changed their tune conveniently about Bishop. And I just be sitting over here gagged to the ground. I was gagged when all it took was for Bishop to not associate and no longer be aligned with Reid for the church sector without any real information. You know, because it's one thing to change your mind if you are properly informed, which is what you should do. Your mind should always be capable of being reformed and refined and be capable of transformity when there's new information. Data and information and revelation should always, and it's always a just reason to change your attitude and your perception towards someone or thing. But that isn't what happened here with Bishop. All it took was for Bishop to no longer be aligned with Reid. And then come selling pipe dreams to the struggling church sector. And all of a sudden, people were making apologies and people were retracting and recanting, and including Satan James, who led the charge against questioning the sincerity, right, of Bishop's gift and the integrity of his work, and is now one of his biggest lollipop suckers. My God, today. So, I've been really impressed by the desperation that I've seen out of the church sector over the past few months. I've been impressed. Yeah. Hey, Shauna. What's going on? Joseph. They always change y'all names on YouTube. So ridiculous. Is it just me, Joseph? Because you're pretty fluid around these church sector streets. Is it just me? Or have you noticed a particular flimsiness, a particular biasness? Is it just me? Or have you noticed that as long as it's Dr. Reid, baby, the folk can press the gas, girl, and they will support people who stalk Dr. Reid. They will support folk who harass Dr. Reid. They will support people who dox Dr. Reid and his community. But there's these ethical lines all of a sudden when it comes to the way that Archbishop should be dealt with. And all of a sudden now we shouldn't be focused on Bishop's sexuality when that's not the focus here to begin with. But the same sector has focused on Dr. Reid's sexuality for years. T.D. Jake's sexuality. Matthew Stevenson's sexuality. What's the other little pretty nigga? He used to be real controversial back in the day. He also had a SEX tape that leaked. People were speculating if it was with a trans woman that was in a particular video. He used to get his ass whipped on live stream by his wife girl. What's that man name, y'all? He was pretty too, just like me and Matthew Stevenson. What's his name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I forgot that man's name. Baby, he used to have it going on back in the day with the drama, honey. But he must have done found him a rock. No, not McClinton. It's another one. He's a real pretty man. He used to keep his hair done kind of like mine. It's like always got these like slick parts and edgy hairstyles, dressed real fancy. All the girls were so smitten. And he had a SEX scandal. What's that man's name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. And it's right there. It's right there at the edge of my brain. God damn it. What's that man's name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. See, all my real nosy Conscious crew members, they ass sleep right now. Getting a beauty rest shot. I forgot, but I know who you're talking about. I need his name. Because he pretty just like Stevenson is. Young. Had a good little moment going for himself too, child. I forgot that man's name. Hold on, see, now y'all gonna make me go find him, child. I don't even know how to find him. Oh, let me see. What can I type in Google to try to... Let me see. Pastor who... I don't know who they think gay. Let me just type that shit in. I don't know, because people used to speculate too if he was gay because he was just so pretty, child. I wouldn't even know how to find this damn man. McClendon. I never heard of McClendon, but let me put him in. I don't think that's our man's last name. McClendon, Pastor McClendon. No, not This was a young guy, young brown skin, light skin guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Not Brian Cage. Not Dawson. Oh, he did. Dawson Speaks did a piece on his channel. I forgot that. Let me see. It's not. I don't think it's Brian Cage. Brian Cage. Let me see. I don't. What is that man's name, y'all? Y'all know who I'm talking about. And it ain't none of the names up in her. None of them. Joshua Holmes. That's right. That's who I'm looking for. Josh. Have y'all forgotten Joshua Holmes? Let me see. Let me put his picture up here, child. I know y'all ain't forgot about little Josh, child. I know y'all ain't forgot about little Josh. This man was popping back in the Disney, but you know, as quick as they come, they also go. Hold on. Let me put his picture up here, child. Hey. I don't know where the hell this music came from, child. Let me see. I'm on somebody's damn SoundCloud. This man got a SoundCloud and all, child. Hold on. Oop, she wale wale, oot she bang bang, oot she wale wale, oot she bang bang. Hold on, let me put him in the queue, child. Y'all run the lights up, child. We're gonna take our time tonight. Not really. We really ain't gonna take our time tonight, but I ain't got nowhere to go. And y'all ain't got nothing better else to do either, child. Let me see. Oochie wale wale, oochie bang bang, oochie wale wale, oochie bang bang. Oochie wale wale, oochie bang bang. Okay, tell me y'all don't remember this man here. Y'all probably gonna recognize his face, child. Y'all don't remember him? Joshua Holmes. That man's wife used to be beating his ass and going all upside his motherfucking head, baby, on them live streams, embarrassing this man and stuff. Y'all don't remember this man? Let me see if I can find some of his content. Don't let me derail too much, y'all. Okay, because I'm gonna forget why the hell I even brought him up. Okay, I know I brought him up just to make an example out of all the people that the church sector, girl, over the years done got all up in the business of, girl, you know, but people now talking about we shouldn't be talking about bishop sexuality as if anybody gives a damn about his 70-year-old ass sexuality, bitch. I don't give a damn about how I don't give a damn how Bernard likes his eggs, girl. Scrambled, raw, fried. I don't give a damn how he like his pancakes, girl. What I am disturbed by is why you out here telling us that you are faithful to one woman for 40 years, and then we find out, that you like to be on the bottom and the top. And we ain't talking about America's Next Top Model. Oh, no, we not. Let me see, honey. Prophet. Oh, Joshua Holmes, the demon seed, sick of these effeminate prophets. Okay, so he's still headlining for all the wrong reasons. I see the people still on his head top, girl. Ooh, Holmes doing y'all. Let me pull up some of this man stuff. Y'all got to remember this man. Come on. Y'all run the lights up, girl. This is a mess. Let me see. Now, he done grew some dreadlocks, child. He used to have an old nasty piece of fade back in the day. Let me see her. Let me turn on my thing.
Power on. Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth mode ready to pair. Device connected.
God obeys me because I obey God. And I always will obey the Holy Ghost. I will always respect him. But he respects me. He does what I say. God obeys me. So when I see somebody don't obey me, I think they're stupid. I do. Let me be honest with you. I do think that they're stupid because I know the God that made heaven and earth. I know the God.
Okay, Lord, it's already giving me the goddamn shivers, bitch. Okay, let me go ahead and take his ass down, baby. Okay, I can't be enduring all that dogmatic shit for too long, baby. Yeah, it don't do nothing for my spirit, girl. It dry my scalp right on up. So that is Joshua Holmes, girl, okay? And I brought him up because, once again, you know, he's just an example of one of the many Christian public figures that the church sector has specialized in being all up in the business of. But all of a sudden now, we should make the exception for Bernard. Why? Because he's handing out lollipops. And I just never thought that the church sector, as raggedy as it's always been, you know, was this thirsty, girl. That all it takes is a nigga coming to hand out pamphlets and selling pipe dreams and handing out WIC vouchers and SNAP benefit cards, you know, and all of a sudden, girl, the sector would just lose its motherfucking mind, baby. It'll start bowing down, acquiescing and bending the knee. Because if you type in Dr. Reid's name, girl, I mean, he might as well be a goddamn mascot for the sector, because they damn sure didn't hold back over speculating about every aspect and every facet of this man's life. So it's just a hypocrisy of the church sector's democracy for me. But see, this is why a bitch like me have to exist, okay? Because we're going to always do what none of them hoes want and too pussy and too coward to do for themselves. Because the pendulum should and always swing from left to right. Yeah. Now, back to Jives. This is what I'm going to say to the Jives storyline arc regarding that question I was asking my last live about how do I feel about what Jives said, even though Jives tried to issue a disclaimer saying that, you know, he doesn't mean any disrespect, but he feels like, I guess, Larry and I should not be trying to force someone out of the closet. And it's like, how can we force him out of the closet when he's got that motherfucker bolted shut with Justin D. Edwards inside of it with him? It's too active in that closet, baby. And why is Dr. Reid being per se blamed for this closet that apparently people don't think Bernard should be out of, when it was his ex-male lover that brought this revelation to the table? It was Justin who brought this revelation to the table. It can almost be implied that Justin is more integral in some ways than Bernard is, which is fascinating because Justin doesn't even have an arch connected to his name, even though he's been allegedly putting an arch in his bishop's back. My God, today. Oh, thank you guys so much for the compliments. Oh, Dr. Reid is up. What up, CTV? I'm working and listening here and there, and you are right. Okay, I didn't say so much stuff, Reid, that I don't know what I'm right about. So what did I say at 3:57 because it's now 3:59. What did I say 3 minutes ago that you were agreeing with? Because I don't even know what the hell I was saying 3 minutes ago. And Dr. Reid is fine. So if Dr. Reid, if you want to let the people know that you are fine in Dubai, because everybody is concerned about you and the camp's well-being, please let these folk know that their prayers are being heard. Okay. Where was I? Y'all? What was I talking about, child? I done got. It's too late for me to be on live, child. Okay. I be feeling like I be drunk when I be up this damn live talking. It's just probably not safe for me to have a microphone right now, right? I was back to Jives, and I was saying, Justin. Oh, why is Dr. Reid? Why is Dr. Reid? Being blamed for a revelation that was brought about regarding Bishop from Justin D. Edwards. And once again, how's the conversation being reduced to being about his sexual orientation? I just really couldn't believe that this is what people were actually saying. Like, because you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics with yourself in order to get to that conclusion. Like, in order to prioritize in your own personal commentary, for those who have already done this, that, oh my God, who cares if Bernard is gay or straight? You have to intentionally, willfully skip past the part that he's cheating. You have to skip past the part that Deborah is a beard. You have to skip past the part that Justin is married. You have to skip past the part that Justin is in the group chat. Like, you have to skip past a whole lot of shit mentally in order to get straight to the nobody should be forcing Bernard out of the closet. Well, apparently there wasn't enough goddamn room in that closet for him and Bernard. Okay, so the doors of the closet had to come swinging open, baby. Between both of them niggas, body mass index, there was clearly only enough room in that closet for one of them, baby. And the doors of the sanctuary have been opened ever since. Okay, Dr. Reid says, I agree that they're biased in reporting. Also, I'm posting updates on Facebook that I am safe. Yes, I read your post from 2 hours ago on Facebook. Okay, so Dr. Reid is safe, you guys. So, I just am I'm so fascinated. Like, when I just sit back and I just watch what's taking place, I just think it's so interesting. I think it's audacious as well that people can have the audacity to go into their secret corners and have group discussions about how biased I am, when the reality is that I'm the only one who's not biased. I'm the only one keeping that same energy while 95% of the church sector is switching it up because they need a lollipop. And this is really what's also interesting about that, is because Bernard knows that the sector is desperate and stupid, and he proved himself right. He knew that all he had to come do is reprogram, hand out pipe dreams, sell hopes, and then kaboom, bitch. The church sector fell for it because them hoes are tired of getting 850 damn views on a video. Them hoes is tired of seeing 12 likes on a video. Them hoes is tired, baby. They tired of being in everybody goddamn business and getting nowhere real fast, baby. So then somebody prominent and somebody who showboats being successful circles the block and makes some promises that the sector believes that he can keep. And all of a sudden the sector is willing to forget its plot, is willing to sweep its mission statement underneath the rug. And all of a sudden, everybody want to go under a self-appointed injunction. Everybody wants to be under a self-appointed gag order. Now, all of a sudden, it's quiet. Ain't no back talk. while there's an entire scandal happening around this person who they would prefer a lollipop from versus accountability and proper standing from. Because I just want to know what's the difference between Bishop Jordan and his scandal and John Gray and his. Between Bishop Jordan and any of Dr. Reid's scandals. Between Bishop Jordan and T.D. Jakes' scandals. I want to know what's the difference between Bernard Jordan and Leandria's previous scandal. I don't want to know, because I'm just, everybody's acting like they don't see the ghosts in the room. I guess I'm the only one with the sixth sense. But you know, I guess I get to be clear-minded because I don't need lollipops. I guess my head gets to be clear, and I don't have to fall for the okie dokie nor excuse the foolishness, because I can't be sold a dream. So I can truly see and maintain my nearsightedness and my farsightedness. But these people have to give that all up because they're not happy with where they are on social media. They're not happy with where they are as it relates to their viewership. And so they have to pander, and they have to bend the knee, and they have to acquiesce. And what goes out of the window with all of that is their very soul and their very integrity. And now you have to protect a cheater, liar, manipulator because you are prioritizing your own personal agenda, hoping that that same liar, cheater, deceiver can provide leverage for somewhere they can't even take themselves at this point, yet alone take you. Very, very, very interesting. All right. Before we move on from the Jives piece, I want to say this. I don't have an issue with Jives per se. I was a little disappointed to hear that his commentary is lopsided as hell. But I'm also used to this when it comes to Jives. I'm used to him not being able to stand entirely and completely on business. I'm used to the turbulence and the fluctuating and the coming and going, and 1 minute is this and 1 minute is that. So what I will say is that I'm in this season where I am incapable of tolerating anything less than myself in people. So I'm removing the term friend off of Jives and I. I don't feel comfortable using the term friend. I don't feel confident in that type of language when it comes to he and I. So Jives is just Jives, okay? And CTV is just CTV, okay? Until there's a better day and a better hour and a version of this thing that actually puts blood into that type of language, that language is off the table. Because there was no criticism from me to Jives when he was out here in his vigilante bag, running down on that Minnesota pastor who sued his ass for being all up in his sexual business, who sued his ass for being all up in his private business. Because rather than criticize my friend for the work that I knew he believed in doing and the work that I knew he believed what's beneficial to the people that he serves, rather than me sit on my platform and criticize my friend or in any way imply anything. In any way imply anything negative about how he chooses to exist and the work he chooses to do. You know what I did? I helped my friend. You know what I did? I raised money for my friend. You know what I did? I gave of my personal wallet to my friend. You know what I did when my friend was gagged up and couldn't talk due to that suit? I got out here and said what he couldn't say. I got out here and did for him what I would have hoped someone have done for me, because my personal approach in the way that I navigate relationships in my life is I give people the person that I think they deserve. I show up for people how I want to be shown up for myself. But, you know, I've been in this position too many times at this point, and I'm disinterested in continuing to slap this label on the undeserving. So until there's blood and substance put into that title, and until that is something that is truly reciprocal, and until that is a title that means something to the other just as much as it means to me, I'm taking the word friend off of me and Jives' situation. I don't have no beef with him. I don't have no smoke with him. But friends, we are in fact not. Okay? So officially, you guys do not have to ask me anymore going forward what I think about this commentary, because as I told you guys 2 nights ago, I don't give a fuck. Okay? Enjoy Jives, support Jives, be subscribed to Jives, thumbs up his commentary, donate to his platform, stand beside him, stand with him, stand in front of him, give him all that you got. Will never take anything away from him. Okay? Friend, no. No. Mm-mm. Because honestly, with friends like these, you don't really need fucking enemies. And in real life, I'm not going through this with my actual friends. I don't know what the disconnect is when it comes to social media. For me, I don't think it's particularly difficult to be a friend to someone who also happens to do social media. The same ethics of friendship that I abide by in my real life, I bring those same ethics into my social media life. If I have friends on here that also happen to be content creators, I extend the very same friendship to those people as I do to my friends who are not content creating. There's not a line of demarcation. I'm not compartmentalized. But, you know, I'm not sad about anything, because all you can do is be who the fuck you is. And all you can do is be and operate in a way that is a reflection of your own morality. And I've done that. So regardless of whether their things work out or not on other people's end, I'm good on my end. I don't have no regrets. I don't have no frustrations. I don't have no anything. I'm going to continue to be the best person that I can be to the people that I love. And I don't have anything else to give anybody other than what I give to myself. So that's it. It doesn't get, there's nothing else that's coming out of that black hat. There's no more tricks. All I got in there is love. All I got in there is truth. All I got in there is faithfulness. All I have in there is compassion. All I have in there is all of those things. And if that does not resonate with whomever the receiver is, that's on the receiver's end. I'm going to bed happy with who I am every day. And I'm being the person that I want people to be to me in return every single day. I'm not missing a beat. Going forward, it's going to be a lot easier for me to walk away because I also have come to accept that it's not that difficult. I have accepted that now, that this is not this difficult. Being fair to people is not difficult. Being good to people is not difficult. This is not difficult. You would think, as hard as it is to find real people in this world, you would think as hard as it is to come across people who are well and know how to treat people. You would think that it is difficult, but it's really not. It's not. If it's real, it's not. If you really mean what you say and you really mean what you feel, it's not hard for your heart to reflect your mouth, and for your mouth to reflect your heart, and for your heart to reflect your actions, and for your actions to reflect your... It's not hard. It's only hard when somebody is not being honest with themselves. But if you mean what's in your heart, this is not difficult. And I don't really care, right, why people find it difficult. I don't care to do the autopsy anymore. I don't care to do the diagnosis. I don't give a fuck. I don't even care. Like, it's going to be that difficult for a lot of people. And you just have to leave people where they are if you can't meet them where they are. And you just have to go on about your life for the sake of your own peace of mind and your sanity. So I love Jives down to the ground, but I'm discontinuing my friendship, not because I'm not his friend, but because he's not mine. So I want you guys to still support him. As I said, I don't have any beef, but right now I'm on a strict life diet. Right now I'm on a strict energy diet. Right now I'm entitling myself to only deal with myself and other people. I've spent my whole life trying to fit a circle into a square peg hole. I have tried to mesh with people who are different from me. And I realized that you can have associations with people who are different from you in mentality. You can have associations with people who are different from you in attitude and in ethics, but you cannot sustain a truly intimate relationship with people who are on different pages than you. I want to give myself the opportunity to indulge in friendships that reflect me back to me. I don't want to make no more space for the opposite. I've done that forever. At 40, I'm retiring. I'm retiring, baby. I need me. Literally. I need me, as in I need me, and I need me and other people. Okay? That's it. That's all. So I love Jives. I wish him a happy 2026. And you guys don't have to ask me going forward what I think about anything. I don't think about any goddamn thing. God bless. Okay? Now let's move into some other aspects of what I have to say here tonight. Bernard and Deborah's marriage. Okay, so speaking of oh yeah, Shauna, that's a whole child. We might have to have, a whole Iyanla conversation in Patreon because I can get into that, okay? And we can explore that conversation. Bernard and Deborah's marriage. Let's talk about this super quick, right? Y'all thumbs up, child. Hold on. So, over the past few months that these audios have been in question, right? And over the past few months that there's been all this dialogue about Bernard's infidelity, etc. What role does Deborah play? And of course, I'm sitting here purely speculating, as the banner below reads, girl, all things are opinionated, speculative, until otherwise stated. I don't know what to make of Deborah and Bernard's marriage. In having spoke with Zoe ministry members, some of them believe that Deborah is not a victim, but that she's compliant and complicit, not only with this idea of whomever Bernard is in his orientation, aka his extramarital affairs, but in terms of also just how he has handled people. And you guys have heard those stories on my platform. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they were telling me that they think that Deborah knows about Bernard's orientation, whatever that is. We don't know how he personally identifies. All we know is that he definitely has a affinity toward men, and he's been sensual and intimate with men, per his conversation with his ex-male lover. I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think that Deborah is aware of her husband's orientation, but I think that it's been dressed up and presented to her as something that he struggled with. Remember, Bernard's brother Isaac commented in one of my interviews with an ex-Zoe ministry member by the name of James Singletary. And Isaac said that he had been abused and that he had proof of his abuse. And according to ex-Zoe ministry members, this was something that had been spoken about and circulated within the church regarding Isaac and Bernard's relationship. And so I think probably in the earlier years when they met, and Bernard was deciding that this was going to be the official beard that he was going to marry, that he probably spoke about his struggles, probably like a lot of men who have same gender loving capacity do, especially if they've been abused, which is shift their orientation into the hands of. I have no idea, Larry, because I have not read the complaint. I ain't been served no complaint. I ain't read no paperwork. I've only, heard excerpts from blogs, but I don't believe, Isaac isn't listed as a defendant, but what's very interesting is that Isaac definitely can be subpoenaed by any of the defendants when that time comes. Yeah. But to my knowledge, I don't think that Isaac is listed or mentioned within the complaint, nor is the couple that interviewed with me, who basically corroborated James Singletary's story. They're not listed as defendants either. I mean, thank God. I don't think that James Singletary ought to be there either. Why he's there and they're not, I don't know. But we know that this whole suit was really flimsy and has a lot of logistical issues. And I'm going to get into, you guys, why I also think that Bernard did this. We get into that. I think that earlier on, Bernard presented his orientation as something that was an affliction and something that he struggled with. Considering how long him and Deborah have been together, you know, this was before being gay was cool. This was before all the conversations around orientation and fluidity and, you know, that being socially acceptable. So I can't personally imagine him presenting his orientation to her in any other way aside from it being in the context of I was abused, more than likely, because remember, we've had that conversation too. We don't know a lot about Bernard's origin stories, but considering what his brother has alleged, we know that sometimes those who inflict abuse upon others were abused themselves. And so it could be that Bernard possibly might have been violated at some point in his own life, in his own youth. And then as a result of maybe having same gender loving feelings, he has coangled both of those things together in order to make his orientation more palatable to those in his life, such as his wife. Now, on the other end, it could be that Bernard and Deborah have some type of an arranged marriage that we don't know about. Maybe over the years, things have evolved between them. Maybe there's space. Maybe there's stipulations. Maybe Deborah feels like, hey, do your thing, but I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it. And it better not be nobody amidst me, because I'm not shaking the hand of none of your whores. And I'm not going to have any of your whores in my home or any of the whores around our family. They can't be connected to the church. They can't be connected to the business. Possibly. I don't know. But what I do know, well, I can't say I know it, but what I can surmise based upon that conversation between Justin and Bernard is that at the very least, Deborah did not know about Justin. She did not know about the nature of their relationship because, once again, in the audio, Justin is directly confronting Bernard. Like, yeah, you threatened to tell your wife. Did you do that? Since you're so big and bad, did you in fact tell her? He admits he didn't. During other parts of their conversation, Justin is confronting Bernard because Bernard is taking up issue with the fact that Justin called him a motherfucker in a heated discussion the day before. And Justin is like, you're a hypocrite for focusing on my use of a cuss word when you're literally pandering around your wife's back with other men. You a hypocrite. So it's given that Deborah doesn't know about Justin. This does not mean that she doesn't know about other individuals. It doesn't mean that they don't have a open relationship in some capacity, some type of open door marriage. I don't know. But what's clear to me based upon the way that dialogue was set up is it appears that Deborah doesn't know about the nature of Bernard's relationship to Justin. Now, what she knows now, we don't know, since all this conversation around the audios Has there been a sit down? Has there been a come to Jesus? I don't know. But you know what I find also to be interesting is that when Dr. Reid was ambushed by the Jordans in the mall in that infamous footage of Bernard running down on Larry in the mall and hugging and kissing him, and Deborah enters the scene and she gives Larry a hug, and then there's a conversation amongst Larry and Deborah and Bernard, and Larry apologizes to the First Lady for the way he went about presenting certain information, because unfortunately at the time that he went into a chat and revealed certain things and then went into his members only and revealed certain things, that it was a moment of frustration due to all the gaslighting games that Bernard was playing with him on social media. And it was also due to other content creators taking advantage of Larry, wanting a reaction out of him, because a lot of content creators do that when it comes to Dr. Reid. They'll play on his ego. They will exploit sensitive situations in order to get a reaction so that they can have fucking content, which is why I've told Dr. Reid he needs to sell off certain things, because like the rest of us, maybe he ain't above going to hell with it either. I'm not above going to hell with it, baby. I don't walk on nobody's water. Okay? So if you give me enough information about some shit, baby, I'm inclined to pop, lock, and drop as well. But that's why I tell y'all all the time, baby, don't send me shit. If I want to know something, I know how to go get something. I don't need y'all sending me this, that, and the third, because baby, I be trying to hold back the apocalypse, baby. Okay? But because Dr. Reid had been already frustrated with circumstances, and then he had been given some information, he ended up revealing some things. And when he ran into the Jordans, he ended up apologizing to the First Lady for presenting certain information that he did believe she should have been afforded to know in a more dignified way versus the way that it came out. And what I find fascinating is that within that conversation, Dr. Reid gave Deborah and Bernard Jordan the opportunity to sit down with him and have an open and honest conversation. Because at this point, Dr. Reid knew about the affair, because Justin had reached out to Larry over the course of Bernard and Larry's relationship being dissolved. So he had already knew about the goings-ons and the entanglements. And when I asked Dr. Reid if he ever got that call, if the Jordans ever had set up that private exchange, he said no. When I asked him, did Deborah ever reach out? Dr. Reid said no. Did Bernard ever reach out to have that conversation? He said no. We can only extract from the fact that the Jordans never reaching out to Larry, despite acting like they were with the kumbaya shit, despite acting like they was with the whole holistic, we're all open to talk, let's figure this out. I find it interesting that they did not make good on taking up Larry on the invitation to have a transparent dialogue. Is it because Bernard knew what that conversation would entail? He knew how honest he would have to be, and that was a level of honesty that he wasn't ready to be. Because speaking of that, isn't it interesting that Bernard is claiming that he's been accused of grooming, which can be argued considering what grooming means colloquially as it relates to using somebody's vulnerability and then using your power to exploit them in that. Because if you let Justin tell it, Justin wasn't looking for that from Bernard when he met Bernard initially. He was a pastor looking to grow in his church. Him and his marriage to his wife was on the rocks. He was having struggles, and he was wanting to amplify his pastoral giftedness along with repair his relationship. And amidst all of this, Justin claims that things got unique and zesty and bootylicious between him and the bishop. That can be argued to be grooming. To present oneself as a healer, to present oneself as someone here to help and have the means to help. And as Bernard said to the Christian Post, I helped to get his kid out of some legal trouble. I gifted a car to his ministry. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's lots of arguments there, considering also what was taking place within their relationship that they're both denying publicly, but that there's proof of. But isn't it interesting that he, in his suit, is claiming, I wasn't after young men and ... However, even Justin says to Larry in the conversation that Bernard allegedly told him that he's learned from dealing with Justin and these young men that ain't none of them shit. That they all are ungrateful incels who are entitled and ain't about nothing. But also, if you look at the age gap between Justin and Bernard, Justin is how many years, how many decades Bernard's junior? Dr. Reid admitted and said in his members only, and has said it again and again, and even on my platform, that Bernard also came on to him and invited him to cuddle and snuggle and come and lay down and watch SpongeBob together while spooning. How many decades is Dr. Reid Bishop's junior? Young doesn't mean minor. Young doesn't mean underage. Young doesn't mean illegal. Young just means young. Young, relatively speaking. I mean, most older men don't want other older men. They don't want men their age, and they don't want men close to their age. They want youth. They want typically men who are in their prime. They want the abs. They want the chiseled face. They want the prime and the glamour of somebody much younger, typically much more fit than them. They want, the stamina, the endurance. They want the girth. They want the length. They want the prime. They want the prime. They want who in their prime. So what? Justin is what? I don't know how old Justin is. I assume Justin is maybe in his 30s, maybe early 40s. Larry is 47, and Bishop is what, 70 something plus years old. So, hello? Bernard has taken it. That's what I'm saying, Reid. What I'm saying in Insanity. They want the girth, girl. They need that girth to go the long run, honey. Another 70-year-old ass nigga. What Bernard gonna do with somebody his age having to be on the blue pill, on the purple pill, honey? No, man. Bernard don't want no nigga taking no peen pill, baby. A nigga need to be able to be on it. Bernard took the personal interpretation that grooming a young man somehow is synonymous with the younger man having to be a minor. Nobody said that. Nobody even implied that. It was just literally, relatively speaking, these are younger men. Larry is a younger man than you. Justin is a younger man than you. Reasonably younger than you. Notably, visually, literally younger than you. Has he forgotten that he's suing his own mistress? Has he forgotten that he's suing his ex-mentee who has attested to personally being came on to? You're going to sue two people who have had the direct experience of the part of yourself that you are publicly denying, and then attempt to sue everybody else who has proof of the part of you that you are also legally and socially denying. And I'm just not really sure how he thinks this is going to turn out. Actually, I know how this is going to turn out. We'll get to that in a few. So yeah, you know, what Deborah knows, we don't know for a fact, right? But what we can surmise from the audio exchange is that she doesn't and didn't know at that time about the ins and outs of her husband's dynamics with Pastor Edwards. Okay? But, you know, that's an interesting conversation. Because I want to say this too. Some people are like, why would Deborah stay? It could be Christianity itself, dogma, Christian religion, especially for women of a certain time and generation like Deborah. She came from that era where there was a strong emphasis on staying faithful to your man. You do this for God. You keep your family together for God. On top of the fact that she's living a pretty privileged lifestyle at that. But here's the other side of that. Deborah doesn't really need Bernard at this point. Her alimony, and because she's the wife, she would be entitled to more than half of his goddamn estate. So Deborah could literally free herself and go and get her goddamn groove back, and can do that on Bernard's dime. She doesn't have to stay there. She doesn't have to exist within a lavender marriage. She's the wife. She's not a side piece. She's not just a girlfriend. She is legally entitled to his coin. Maybe it's Deborah's own ego. Sometimes women will stay in a situation they're not happy in and that they're being dishonored and disrespected in because they don't want to prove everybody else right. They don't want to prove the haters right. They don't want to prove the family members who never supported their relationship right. They don't want to prove the friends who always knew the tea and didn't, you know, and never really supported their relationship and always thought you could do better right. Sometimes it's your own ego that will keep you in a coffin of your own making. And so many people, unfortunately, are willing to die on that hill out of pride. You'd rather be unhappy, disrespected, discarded, all because you don't want certain people to be right about you or about this or about y'all. It's no way to live. But who knows, right? What all is the reason? Maybe Deborah is completely exhausted. Maybe between the menopause and all the goddamn bullshit that's been going on over there, and all of the decades of being integrated into Bernard's world, that maybe he's gotten her successfully programmed. And she's like that maiden black woman on Get Out, who was in the sunken place. Yeah. Completely and fully integrated into the system. Maybe have potentially lost herself, lost her voice, lost her identity, has given her entire self up and over to her husband, and she's now just a pawn on his chessboard, just a thing, a utility. Narcs don't actually value people. People are just utilities. People are opportunities. People are stepping stones. People aren't people in the lives of a narc. People have purposes that often benefit the narc. Some victims of narcs do better than others. If a person has a very strong sense of identity, the narc won't be able to successfully integrate them. If a person has a weaker self-esteem, if a person has the capacity to be broken in, then they can be the perfect non-interrupting ally to the narc. And that may be Deborah in this case. I'm interested to know, though, why she didn't take it upon herself to push Bernard to have that conversation with Larry, since Larry was willing to reveal everything to Deborah, which is why when he ran into the Jordans in the mall, he said, look, let's sit down and talk. We can talk about everything that I've shared. I'm only apologizing for the way that I shared what I shared. I'm not apologizing for lying. I'm not apologizing for half saying it. I am apologizing for the way I presented it. And Dr. Reid can clarify if I'm wrong, since he's here, if I'm incorrect about that. But he didn't apologize because it wasn't true. He didn't apologize because he shouldn't have said it. He apologized for half saying it under the circumstances in which he did, and was giving her and Bernard the opportunity to hear all of that information all over again, but in an intimate space, and where Bernard couldn't pussy pop, because Larry was also loaded up not only with the truth about Justin and Bernard's situation, but was also personally loaded up with his own personal experience of Bernard as it relates to Bernard's apparent attraction to Dr. Reid. I felt it. I knew something was off with him. Sorry to him. You're a great friend to have. Who? Oh, you speaking of Jives, co-hester? Reid says, I doubt there's a prenup. Yeah, as old as their marriage is, I highly doubt it as well. They built his financial success together. Yeah, I highly doubt there's a prenup. Could be, but I doubt it. CTV, BJ knew you could see him, which is why he tried to turn Dr. Reid against you. And that's why I had that, and that's why I had a gripe with Dr. Reid, because he actually allowed that nigga to do just that. Which is why I said to Dr. Reid in that live, I think it was in the same live that we was waving the white flag with Bernard. I said, and you done let all these goddamn people inform you on how to deal with me, and then look at them and look at the situation. And he admitted. And the whole time it was Bernard. But that's how it always is, right? That's a story as old as time. A story as old as time. Of course, you trying to get the seer out of the mix. And I fully believe that Bernard was competing with me. I think that considering the other things that Bernard apparently said to Dr. Reid about me being a soul snatcher, that was just Bernard's way of saying that this is a bad motherfucker. And I believe that he believed that there was nothing but space and opportunity between me and Dr. Reid, and that anything could pop off. But given that Dr. Reid revealed that Bernard has came on to him, that what we didn't know then, but that we could put it together now, is that the man didn't want me and Dr. Reid being intimate. And he was so invested in that he actually told this man not to be alone with me, just so that he didn't have to live with the weight and the gravity of a manifestation like that, because it would have made him so deeply jealous and envious. Yeah, Bernard was definitely competing with me, which is wild. It's wild. Because I'm a threat regardless of whether I'm somebody's intimate partner or not. You should have been more worried about whether I could see you for who you were. Not worried about some shallow, superficial shit, like rather what's going to happen between me and Dr. Reid if we end up in a corner together. You should have been worried about what I'm really capable of. But maybe that was also a part of it too, right? Is that he could see that I in me too. And so not only was there a competitiveness in terms of that part of it, but also it was the other part of the eye, to y'all's point, because Bernard didn't invite me to Larry's birthday party the following year when he was and took it upon himself to facilitate a surprise birthday party for Bernard, even though Bernard had saw that I had been on the invite list all the other years prior. He and I even attended Dr. Reid's virtual birthday party together. So to not have invited me the next year, and you know damn well I was somebody that Dr. Reid would have wanted to be a part of his birthday, as close as me and Dr. Reid is. You know damn well he would have wanted me there with Kendall, Shamaka, Lisa, his children, and everybody else in his life. Him being as close to Dr. Reid as he is, knowing directly from Dr. Reid and can see with everybody else just how close me and Dr. Reid is. And you're going to, I didn't understand that. I didn't press the issue at the time. It was just like, oh, that's like weird, right? Because at this point I had also, you know, spoken to Bernard. We had rapport and proximity due to Dr. Reid. Then I'm just like, okay, that was weird as hell. But I didn't know what to think about it. Because at that time, Dr. Reid had not shared with me all these things. He had not shared with me that Bernard had done made passes at him. He had not shared with me that Bernard had told him not to end up alone with me. He had not shared with me, you know, the statements about being called a soul snatcher and all of this. So I didn't really have a context. And like I said, I didn't really press the issue enough to even put my own spirit to it either. I was just like, okay. Weird, but whatever, you know. If he wanted to leave me out of the surprise birthday party, so be it. So yeah, that was that. Okay, so let's get to some other things, Shaw, because I said I was gonna keep y'all here for a long time, but here we are taking our time, right? Okay, so let's talk about Justin for a little while, right? So Justin was not out here initially, right, on social media. His name had not even been dropped amidst none of this until Satan James had called Justin by name because a battery had been put in his back and a check was cleared for him to attempt to smear Justin on behalf of the Jordans. And then that's the first time that we saw Justin step out of the group chat because he jumped onto Satan James' platform in order to confront him about why the fuck his name was in Satan James' mouth, especially when it's a mouth connected to a face that doesn't even have a neck and is balancing itself on pure shoulder blade. Like, my nigga, your head is literally balancing itself at every given moment on shoulder blades, pure bone, because you weren't gifted with a neck like the rest of us, and you out here yabba dabba doing. So Justin got off in that ass, and I remember thinking to myself, right, that it was interesting that Satan James had admitted that he jumped out of the window, that he had not heard no audios. And what I found to be even more interesting is that Satan James said he didn't even want to hear the audios. This was the first time that I had ever heard Satan James all of a sudden not be interested in any proof. I was flabbergasted that Satan James said that he wasn't interested in any proof, because had he actually been interested in proof, he would have never had to go on the failed dummy mission he went on. And he would have never made a goddamn fool of himself to begin with had he actually been invested in the goddamn proof. So here it was. He went on a dummy mission, threw this man's name out there out of nowhere, admitted he never heard no audios, admitted that he didn't want to hear no audios, and then admitted to Justin the very next day in his public apology that he did take the sole word of the Jordans. But the gag about it is, the Jordans didn't even tell Satan James the full truth. Because as I said the other day, it was okay, baby, if they was going to send you out here on a dummy mission. If they was going to tell you, go for it, Tiger. Get out there and tear his ass up. Call Justin every bit of the lowdown, broke ass, thirsty, thirst bucketing, troglodyte ever to pooch through the church. But they failed to also inform him and tell him that, oh yeah, and I was having an affair with him. Oh, you're just going to leave that big part of it out? My God, today. So when Justin name was kind of just floating about and only one side of the tracks had spoken Justin's name, the real reason why I personally wasn't going to drop Justin's name and really speak on Justin directly is because Justin had been huffing and puffing about how he was going to do it himself. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to do it himself. he had been having these like back and forth with Larry about, oh, I'm going to do it. I want to go live. I'm going to say it all. He's just pissing me off so bad. Like he was always getting to these heightened points of frustration. And then he would want to get out here for whatever reason and tell his own tea and spill his own tea. And so out of both Justin and Bernard, it kept appearing that Justin was going to stand on it. And that he was slowly kind of etching toward more and more each week, more and more each day, of getting to a natural point where he felt that this was something that he wanted to divulge to the public, but he never did. Okay? But I did think that Justin, should have had, the creative right to do this on his own terms, if that's what he wanted to do. Both of them were wrong, not for being bisexual or pansexual, but for playing on God's head top, playing on the church's head top, and playing on their wives' head top. And so one of them wanting to at least do the right thing was like, okay, well, that's the right thing to want to do, is to confess your sins and to avoid busting hell wide the hell open. At some point, Dr. Reid came to the conclusion that Justin was never going to do that. That Justin was still trying to hide his hand while Bernard takes all of the fallout from their situation. And that was completely and utterly unfair. So Larry dropped Justin's name as well and said, yeah, this is the nigga in the audios. I'm not going to let Justin get away with manipulating the situation, etc. And since it appears that he is going to continue to try to hide under a rock and he wants the experience of having Bernard get towed up and deal with the ramifications of all of this while saving his own ass. No. So we're going to even the playing field here. And then kaboom, Justin's identification was confirmed by Dr. Reid. Justin should have did the right thing. And first of all, just not did it with Bernard. And neither one of them would be here. And secondly, he should have followed his conscience and he should have followed his gut and his conviction and owned it and redeemed himself by way of repenting and standing in his truth. Because as a result of him not doing that and Bernard not doing that, now they're both forced to have the truth be, but in a way that's now outside of both of their hands and authority, which is only going to resort in, unfortunately, like personal shame, when they could have at least walked away with their dignity by being honest. And then to double down and attempt to sue and force the hand of the truth, and it's the truth, and now both y'all's tea is at the forefront of everything, and it's definitely going to be presented to the courts in the hypothetical of this lawsuit being responded to. It's just a whole gag. It's a whole fucking shit show and a whole gag. But what at the very least I can say about Justin is that Justin did seem to have a bit of a conscience and was wrestling with his conscience and was wrestling about the idea of coming forward and standing in his shit. But he couldn't muster the full capacity and integrity to do that. Now, while I'm on Justin, I might as well go ahead and say this too. What's interesting is that Justin could have a lawsuit as well. That conversation that I just kind of nudged on the shoulder of earlier about grooming and grooming in the context of power dynamics and wealth dynamics, etc. This is kind of what's being argued in all of Tyler Perry's lawsuits, from Derek Dixon to the other young man that sued Tyler Perry. They're kind of toying around with that legality of when power and money is disproportionate to the person who's considered to be the subordinate in the situation, and the legal premise for that, and the way that that can kind of be set as a foundation for someone to be able to carry the title of victim effectively. That's a foundation that is in Justin's favor in this situation as well. Justin could have a lawsuit against Bernard as a plaintiff for being groomed and taken advantage of by Bernard during a time where Justin was having financial and marital issues. And Justin could argue that this created a emotional vulnerability that Bernard took advantage of. And given the way that Bernard expressed in that audio, the way that he deals with his enemies and the way he goes about operating out of maliciousness, and how he likes, and how he implied he likes to torture his enemies and his opponents, Justin can argue that he was scared of this man. He can argue that Bernard entered into his life at a vulnerable time where he was looking for leadership and looking to repair the parts of his life that was injured. And in this, Bernard swooped in and appealed to him and love bombed him through his money, love bombed him through his wealth, showed him what life could be like by aligning with Bernard. And also this part of Bernard that apparently is very intimidating, etc., leading to his fear of standing up for himself to this man. I fully believe that if Justin wanted to pull a reverse Uno on Bernard, and he may very well do that, because Justin is the only person out of the several people that are listed as defendants who have been served, and he is and has 21 days to respond. So his response is coming down the pipeline any given day. But once again, I don't even know what that means, considering that Bernard didn't even have an attorney last week, because the attorney that filed this frivolous, baseless, caseless ass suit on his behalf isn't even licensed to practice in the goddamn state of New Jersey. So who knows, right? But I think that Justin has an argument there, and that there's enough going on in his situation with Bernard to make litigating very interesting if Justin wanted to lean into that part of it. And Justin did share a lot of things with Larry as it relates to his frustrations with Bernard and his inability to get away from this man, and how this man is so controlling and this, that, and the third. I mean, look, that can be a whole situation right there. And see, and this is how it typically goes when it comes to lawsuits, right? So lawsuits open up a can of worms. And I think Justin's argument as a plaintiff is actually stronger than Bernard's argument as a plaintiff. Every attorney who's looked at this case is like, there's a RICO here with no RICO. There's a conspiracy here with no conspiracy. There's a defamation here with no motherfucking defamation. Justin could possibly be the secret weapon in this whole fucking thing and could draw forward the shit out of this whole suit. I have no idea how Justin is going to respond. I don't know what his angle and approach is going to be as it relates to how he's going to address the allegations and the counts listed against him in the suit, child. But baby, this could get real thick and real interesting. All right, let's talk about Larry sending the audios. I know I've said this before, and I want to say this again. For people who are saying that where Larry got all this started, you know, he mentioned the audios in the email, etc. I just want to clarify super quick. When Larry had sent that email from Pastor Blake to other church sector uploaders, Larry was really defending himself, not so much as really focusing on Bernard. Remember, at this time, the church sector was still trying to figure out why in the hell did Larry really let go of Bernard? What was really the breakdown about? Because people just did not believe that the breakdown was for the reasons why Dr. Reid claimed that the breakdown was for. Because of a lot of the stuff that Dr. Reid had experienced that he had not spoken of, on top of all the stuff that he was finding out after the dissolving of the friendship, of the mentorship, etc., and the conversations that were still being centered around why he and Bernard's relationship collapsed, Larry sent that email informing them of some of the things he had discovered as a way to help them have a better context of not only why there was a breakdown, but why there will also not be a realigning or repairing of that relationship. There may always be love and a respect, maybe even a cordial hi and bye, but there will never be a relationship again. And that was provided with the intent of just helping motherfuckers to understand Larry as it relates to the conversations they were having. If Larry wanted to get shit started, Larry could have did what he has done from the very beginning. He could have just popped the shit off in members only. He could have just popped the shit off on his own platform. He didn't need content creators smaller than him, who ain't got no motion to begin with, to do something that he did with his own platform any damn way. He was the one over there sitting with the tea. He had all the evidence. He didn't need nothing outside of himself. So while those emails, yes, spoke about these audios, the emails were still vague enough to where you didn't really know what the hell was on them or what the hell they implied. But they were being sent because Larry was trying to provide context and further insight for those who were still obsessing over the age-old question of what really happened between these two. Bernard was just not even a second thought. The situation just happened to feature Bernard as it relates to the audio mentions, but Bernard wasn't really the point. Larry was trying to clarify something about him and Bernard, more so than leverage this controversy, which once again, Larry could have done on his own. He has the platform to do it, and he had the evidence to do it if it was about getting shit started. And he ended up doing just that as a result of Bernard continuing to double down. He went into his private community and had a full discourse. All right, now William and Bernard. So for those of you who were privy to the live that I did last about this whole thing, you know, I gave y'all a play-by-play of what took place toward the end of that exchange between Justin and Bernard. Bernard was having a conversation with Justin, basically trying to make him feel special and make him feel like Bernard had did something that Justin should consider valuable, aka this intimate part of their relationship that he felt Justin was downplaying. And in that, he decided to bring up William McCray and how William McCray apparently wanted Bernard, and how Bernard didn't want McCray in return, and how McCray apparently told other people that they were together, even though that wasn't apparently true. And then Bernard went on this whole diatribe about how many men have tried to get with him and be with him. And so, you know, Justin should consider himself lucky and da 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 da. Well, I find that to be fascinating, right? Because when King Jives sat down with us over here on the Consciouztv platform for 3-4 hours and dragged the fuck out of Bernard and spoke about how Larry Reid centered Bernard was this whole time, that he was adjacent to Bernard's camp, and how when Bernard flew all of the content creators out to Florida for these conferences, you know, there was just all these conversations around Reid from a man who claimed that Reid's name is equivalent to an ouch from a toe being stubbed on the end of a bedpost, but you can't keep this man's name out of your mouth. Interesting, right? But King Jives also had shared that William McCray was seemingly obsessed with all these things that he believed that Bernard had did for Larry. He believed that Bernard had gifted Larry Reid a Rolls Royce. He believed that he had provided a home for Larry and had did all of these expensive ass lavish things for Dr. Reid, which were not true. But McCray believed this and was pressed about this and was pressing on Jives like, you know, basically, I've been in Bernard's life longer than Larry. I was the first Larry Reid to Bernard before Larry was Larry to Bernard. And he's never done any of these things for me. And boom, 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 boom. And then Dr. Reid also shared, you know, how McCray was also pressed about he and Bernard's relationship. And I guess McCray had also brought that conversation to Dr. Reid as well about, yeah, because he did this, that, and the third. And despite Dr. Reid trying to convince McCray that no, these things are not true. This man did not buy me a fucking car. He did not give me millions of fucking dollars. He did not put me up in a house. But McCray was invested in that narrative. Well, now it makes sense. Not only why McCray was invested in this narrative that Bernard had done all these things for Larry and not him, but it also explained why McCray went the fuck so hard on Justin. Because remember, McCray tried to finish what Satan James failed and started. So he went live, going the fuck in. You would have thought that Justin did something personally to Bernard. I mean, to McCray, the way that McCray was just calling this man a church whore. And then remember, Larry Reid had three-wayed me in to the conversation between Justin and McCray. And McCray was just so angry at Justin. He was so angry for somebody that he didn't know, somebody that he had no direct negative experiences of himself. And he was just calling this man a church whore and accusing him of this, that, and the third, and accusing him of, you know, hoodwinking and bamboozling. But no, I mean, just literally out of his rabbit ass motherfucking mind. McCray sounded like the first lady. of Zoe Ministries. Oh, well, now it makes sense considering what Bernard shared with Justin, that McCrae wanted Bernard. So this whole time, William been jealous of Larry's relationship to Bernard and to Justin's relationship to Bernard, because as far as William is concerned, they were experiencing an aspect of Bernard that McCrae never did. And then the fact that Justin and Bernard actually went there, oh, baby, this took McCrae's frail bones to the next goddamn level, baby. Okay? Filled with jealousy, rage, and deep fucking envy. Because Bernard chose Justin and Larry over McWig. And because Jordan knows that McWig wants him, he's appealing to that aspect of William now, that he needs McCrae because McCrae is the only other blogger aside from Larry that he was close to that has experience with navigating social media and navigating controversy. So because he now really needs McCrae, now that he definitely doesn't have Larry in his back pocket, he's got to pander to McCrae in that way. You got to fly him out, put him up. He got to give him all the things because he know how McCrae really feels about him. And the more affectionate and the more loving he is toward McCrae, the more McCrae is going to feel compelled to go on dummy missions and to put it all out on the line. So when Larry walked away from that three-way exchange between William and Justin, it was like, I just don't understand why McCrae is so far up Bernard's ass. It's because that's literally where William wants to be. It's far deep off in to Bernard's ass. What you were witnessing was the loyalty and the passion from McCrae, who has a desire to be the first lady of Zoe Ministries, baby, and you wasn't gonna be able to peel that shit up off McCrae, baby. I don't care how good you done been to McCrae. I don't care if you done help set him up with Patreon and you done helped them with his pages and you done help him to have a safe place to park his goddamn Scooby-Doo van at, even though he was leaving all them big ass oil stains in your damn front yard from his goddamn badass muffler, you know, because this is more than just about money. See, Larry must have not even paid full attention to that whole exchange because Larry never even mentioned to me this part of the dialogue that came at the end. And maybe because it was an hour long and it was just so much going on that, you know, you just don't hear it all. You don't hear it all at once. You know, you don't hear everything it is. You know, it's one of the things you have to listen to it again and again and again because you catch new shit every time that you listen to it. But when Larry was trying to figure out why the fuck was William deeply invested in being biased, did not want to hear the other side, knowing that he didn't have no proof, and with him also knowing how Bernard is. And McCrae was just unwilling, baby. He was unwilling to hear any narrative that didn't paint Bernard as a victim, even though he also was aware he had not heard no audios, even though he was aware that there was a possibility that there was another side to this thing. Because he know that Larry not gonna lie to him. He know that if Larry said there's audios, that there's audios. They also had a mutual associate. William knew that the trash report had the audios, and my belief is that the trash report allowed. You know what? I think I'm gonna tell you what I think. since bitches like having my name in their mouth, I'm going to have their prison names in my mouth. When William McCray kept saying, I've heard the audios, 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 I believe that William McCray has heard the audios. I believe that the trash report has allowed William to hear those audios. And I believe that this is why the trash report, remember when all this shit had first hit the fan and I had did my first live and I was giving my 2 cents on everything, and the trash report was so pressed and he was talking shit and he was a Larry Reid pawn and all of this shit and boom, boom, boom. And then McCrae had went live and McCrae had said, yeah, because it was the trash report that called me and said that CTV had played the audios, which of course had never happened. But of course, I believe McCrae because the trash report is known to be a liar and sneaky and underhanded like this. This is the type of fake shit that he does, which is why the trash report don't have no friends to begin with and nobody fuck with him and nobody trusts his ass because everybody has been burnt this way by the trash report. But then remember the night that McCrae had went in on Justin and people had asked him, or people had went to the trash report live and was asking him, like, is it true what McCrae is saying, that he heard those audios in its entirety, despite CTV saying that McCrae didn't, and despite Larry saying that McCrae didn't, even though the Taisha report, he was called to come to that Cheesecake Factory meeting just in case William ass would lie about the situation, because Larry knew that he was dealing with a liar out of William. So he called the trash report there thinking that the trash report wasn't what had a lick of integrity and at the very least would say the truth if the truth ever needed to be spoken. And then here it was the trash report's time to shine, because somebody is directly asking him, hey, is what that bitch in that wig saying true, that he heard the whole audios? All the trash report would have had to say is no, it's not. Just when Larry started playing the audios per the begging of McCrae, we ended up talking about some other shit and we never got to hear the audios. The audios never really got a chance to be played. Baby, the trash report did not want to clarify. The trash report did not want to speak directly to whether William had heard those motherfucking audios. And the reason why now that I think about the shit, the reason why his ass did not want to have to answer that question is because he knew he had secretly allowed William to hear those audios. See, the trash report and William, they hang out all the time. They go to bathhouses and shit and go to 3-star motels and fuck off on $2 trade together, and they go pooch around together. You would have to be a goddamn fool to believe that the trash report holding those fucking audios in his possession did not allow his friend to listen to those audios, but because he didn't give the audios to McCrae, but allowed McCrae to hear the audio, McCrae still didn't have the physical audio to blackmail Bernard with behind the scenes, which is what I believe McCrae was going to do with the physical copy of the audios, is that he wanted to blackmail McCrae. He wanted to blackmail Bernard. He wanted to be able to say, hey, this is what I have. This is what's on them. And this will never see the light of day as long as you give me 10K or 15K or 20K or however much he was going to charge, because that's how William would victimize people. He would take their receipts and then go to the person that's hurting them and then have the person who's hurting the victim to pay him out. And then the victim never end up with justice and ending up with this scratch on their head of why in the fuck would, oh boy, why I ain't heard back from William. Right? I ain't got no updates from him. He told me he was going to go and talk to the person that hurt me, and the whole time William done ran off and done made a fucking private agreement with your perpetrator and living good, and you still waiting on fucking justice. That's never going to be the case. So he still didn't have the physical copy, but the trash report definitely allowed him to hear those fucking audios. And that's why when the trash report was put on the fucking spot and somebody was asking him directly, bitch, is it true? Is it true, the trash report? Did he hear it? That motherfucker didn't want to answer. He couldn't answer because he knew, yeah, he did, bitch. He ain't hear it at the Cheesecake Factory hole, but he done heard that shit via me because I done played the fucking audio for his motherfucking ass. But that's the only thing that saved the trash report's ass in terms of a narrative, is that William McCray can't go on record and say he has the audios, because he doesn't. Nobody ever gave it to him. But his claim to being able to say, I heard the audios, he can technically make claim to. Yeah. Because he technically did via the trash report. Via the trash report. And once it all got clarified, the trash report was able to technically stick to a truth too. Like, eventually, because he was losing the plot and he wanted to salvage whatever the fuck, you know, his alignment is with Reid. Eventually, he was like, yeah, William didn't hear the audios at the Cheesecake Factory, that is. Yeah, he didn't. After he had initially covered for McCrae, but it's really because he was covering for himself. To admit that McCrae heard the audios, he would have had to also admit how. And obviously his own hand would have been completely implicated. Didn't want to do that. But once the conversation kept centering, oh, the Cheesecake Factory, the Cheesecake Factory, the Cheesecake Factory. Oh, okay. Then eventually he was able to bow down eventually and be like, okay, no, yeah, it's true. He didn't hear the audios. Why you couldn't say that initially? What the fuck you were so scared of? That's why you were brought there, bitch. You were brought there to be a living witness to the truth, girl. That's because that bitch was thinking about how he was thinking about the fear of incriminating his own self. My God, today. A mess. So this is a very dysfunctional, sickly web. Yeah. Right? Because here it is, you got McCrae, who, according to Bernard, has deep feelings for Bernard, who also is corrupted enough, though, to not actually love nobody. So, of course, the person that William wants is also the same person that he's willing also to victimize, because William is corrupted. So, of course, he's going to sell out Reid. Of course, he's going to sell out Bernard. His friendship to Reid isn't going to matter to him more than his corruption does. And his feelings for Bernard ain't going to mean as much to him as his corruption does. So William is willing to sell everybody ass out. He's willing to Judas any motherfucking body. Regardless, friendship is secondary. Romance and sex and all of that is secondary. The corruption of it all, the usury of it all, the narcissism of it all, the centering of self of it all is what's going to come first for a sickly, decrepit being like McWig. But you know what's fascinating too about McWig and about, let's go back to this conversation around how pitiful the church sector is. Isn't it interesting that Satan James, who all out denounced McWig and claimed that he wanted nothing more to do with McWig after McWig had trashed his mother, who Satan James allowed to meet in person? Like, why in the fuck would you ever allow a hellish demonic Dante's Inferno entity like William McWig to meet your fucking mother out of all people? Who in the fuck would introduce something like McWig to their goddamn precious mother out of all people? The fact that his mama was even open to meeting McWig is when Satan James should have known to pull out the goddamn holy water and to baptize her motherfucking ass and get them unclean spirits up out of her. Because he made such a fuss, right, of William coming for his mother, insulting his mother, dragging his mother from here to the other side of Hades. And then William McWig topping it all off by aligning with the trash report and aligning with Larry. Oh, so Satan James was, it'll never be conscious. It'll never be. And now y'all back good Judies? I'm just trying to get y'all to see the pattern here about how these church sector hoes will drop their boundaries and drop the standard and will sell their souls out of convenience. Because remember, as long as Bernard was aligned with Larry, oh baby, them niggas was some false prophets and charlatans. Oh, but now you are one of Bernard's henchmen. Oh, as long as William was Team Larry. Oh, I would never. There's no possible way in hell I would ever. And now because William is obviously Team Bernard over Larry, you and William are back, you know, good Judies and two committed lesbians again. So it's okay for him throwing your friendship out of the window when you were so good to him. You would take him around LA, you would pick him up, you were so kind to him. And he had the unmitigated gall to disrespect a friendship that had no issues, throw that away over nothing. Disrespect the fuck out of your mother, who you thought he was worthy of meeting and having dinner with. And all of that easily goes away because William is no longer associated with Larry. And it's okay to be Team Bernard, who were false prophets, right? And nothing more than grifters, right? And who's now caught up in a whole scandal of infidelity, right? All because he's not Team Larry. I just want y'all to see how this works, right? Do y'all see this? Do y'all see? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I just want y'all to see the grift. Everything that they say everybody else does is what the fuck these hoes in fact do. This obsessive hatred for Larry being so deep for these people that they would be willing to allow their mothers to be disrespected. They will and would be willing to put down their own self-respect to realign with certain people just out of spite to Larry, as if the people who they're even opening the door for will be any better to them, while already having a fucking history of not even being good to them. And they will go round for round in aligning with dangerous as weirdo ass people. As long as they're not Team Larry, they'll be willing to open up their doors to extortionists and to manipulators and deceivers and to wrongdoers, as long as they're not aligned with that goddamn Larry. Oh, baby, that is some really pitiful, really weird shit. Could you imagine not liking somebody that much that you'd be willing to endanger yourself and embarrass yourself, thinking that you're spiting, that you are spiting the other individual, forgetting the fact that, Seeley, bitch, you're in danger. Again, the same motherfucker that disrespected your mammy is the same motherfucker that's disrespecting your mammy now. The same motherfucker that threw away the friendship then for no reason is the same motherfucker who ain't your friend motherfucking now. And if the bishop who you're willing to receive, you're not even willing to criticize simply because he's not aligned with Larry, guess what, bitch? If he could disrespect his wife, how much more is he willing to disrespect and use your dumb ass for his own self-gratifying reasons? Especially since we already have saw the play, right? Of Bishop using St. James to go on a dummy mission after Justin, but forgetting to tell St. James the whole truth. That while Justin may be everything that Bernard told St. James Justin was, what he felt to mention was that he was also on the top and bottom of that nigga too. My God, today. All right. Now, let's get to my last and final talking point, girl, because it is so late. I can't believe I'm up here late with you guys. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let me see here. What I got up here. Coupled with the fact that we never. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's the big thing. Why is Bernard suing? Yeah, it's Jasmine. Exactly. People ignore patterns and past behaviors. And for dumb reasons at that, right? It'd be for the reasons they ignore the patterns, right? Like, sometimes you do got to play chess in life, right? Okay? Sometimes you have to play chess and you have to make the exception for the rule. But these people don't even have a substantive reason to be ignoring the patterns. They don't even have a real substantive reason to be ignoring past behavior. It's literally just rooted in the fact that, oh, we don't like Larry, so we're going to accept anybody back into our good graces, even if they're actually what we say Larry is. Are you out of your fucking mind? Let me tell you something. I am terrified of people who do not have situational awareness, and I am terrified of people who cannot recognize danger. Because if a motherfucker don't have a hyper vigilance about themselves and they don't have a situational awareness to themselves and they don't have danger awareness, it means that you're going to be in danger as well, bitch, dealing with somebody who doesn't recognize danger. If that motherfucker don't know that they're at the edge of a cliff, they won't know when y'all are at the edge of a goddamn cliff. If they don't know, baby, for themselves that fire burn, they ain't gonna have no problem, bitch, introducing your ass to fire either. I am very afraid of people who do not have situational awareness and do not have danger awareness. Why in the hell would St. James or the church sector even be welcoming of William McCray, but not like Dr. Reid? Is literally the preposterousness of it all. Preposterous. There are people who would criticize Dr. Reid every single motherfucking day, all motherfucking day, but yet hold a sense of value for William because he's entertaining. Oh, we ain't seen William on in a few days. Oh, we hope William is all like, are you insane? Like the sheer I'm talking about the sheer brutal hypocrisy of the fucking church. It is literally so outlandish that I can't even take them hoes seriously. I can't. I sit back and study them hoes like a science project. Like the church sector is like a case study for me. I just sit back and collect data about human consciousness and psychology and etc. It's not even something that I take seriously. I'm more intrigued by the intellectual disaster that is these people, the moral disaster that is these individuals. I'm more intrigued watching these Israelites circle the same mountain for 40 fucking years. I'm more just intrigued by it. It fascinates me. It fascinates me. Okay, so why did Bernard Wright file the suit? Hold on, y'all. Or believe the fire won't turn their way. Oh, baby. And that's the worst. The worst is a motherfucker who don't have no danger awareness and the sheer audacity of the ego that thinks that it's going to somehow be the exception to the rule, girl. Very, very, very dangerous shit, Josh. So why did Bernard file this suit, right? Let me say this to y'all. And y'all tell me what y'all think. Because I was thinking about this, right? Because the suit is baseless. It's going to get thrown out. It's going to reverse Uno. They're going to be anti-slaps and countersuits. And of course, we're going to be victorious as we always are. It's literally just not even going to be a thing, right? And that's from a professional standpoint. Obviously, we're also going to be socially leveraged through all of this because he's just going to prove that we tell the truth. And he's going to prove that our platforms are credible. So, you know, everybody on this side has everything to gain from this, nothing to lose. He has everything to lose on a social aspect, a cultural aspect, and definitely a financial aspect. So I'm like, why would he do this then? Why would he do this knowing that his suit is trash, knowing that it's a caseless case, and yet you would forge ahead? Could it be, y'all, that Bernard is not only ill-informed based upon his own misunderstanding and the people in his camp gassing his delusion up about how these audios don't say what they in fact do, which you guys are going to know for yourselves actually do, but that maybe also somewhere deep down, Bernard wants the truth to finally come out so that he can be free, since he can't reach for that freedom out of his own will. So he's provoking the circumstances to do it on his behalf, because that feels a lot easier than mustering the courage to admit to his family and wife that he has desires that he just don't want to suppress anymore and needs time to discover what he truly wants based on who he actually is. Could that be the unconscious motive behind his suit? Once you pull back and peel back the layers of the surface shit, this is nothing more than a castrated coward forcing others to blast his truth for him so that he doesn't have to take full and personal ownership for his truth himself and then ride off the leverage and coattail of that truth that we provided him through this frivolous suit of his. That is the only motherfucking reason that could make sense to me, is that this is a cowardly way for Bernard to eventually be able to live in his truth. And clearly he's willing to pay the ultimate price. He's willing to pay the whole price. He's willing to lose money behind this. He's willing to end up taking the L legally. He's willing to do all of that because he absolutely needs to be fucking free from the life that he created out of the lie. And because he's 70, he knows that he has more time behind him than he does ahead of him. And he wants so bad to be able to indulge this other part of his life without the guilt of doing something wrong as a covenant man. And so what this suit has the power to accomplish is the truth. Finally, forcibly coming up and out. And then he can take that truth and allow it to destroy the things that maybe he doesn't even want anymore. He doesn't want his marriage. He doesn't care. Divorce me. Let me go so I can be free. Or it can force him to have the conversation that can lead to the dissolving of the commitments that are out of alignment with his actual authentic truth. Or it could create the space in his marriage to accommodate something like this. Like, maybe I don't want to let my marriage go, but I want to refine it. And because I know that Deborah ass old as well, she don't want to go nowhere. She don't want to start over. She comfortable. She don't want to have to figure it all out. The truth will force our ass, though, to figure out how to comfortably deal with this truth. Whether that means I can have a boyfriend on the side, maybe what. But it's very clear to me that he needs this truth. And he needs it out. He got to have that. He need that. He want that. But, you know, the crazy part about going about it this way is that it comes with so much injury. He would actually do better by just living in his truth and just having the conversation with his community, with his church, with his wife, with his family about the truth, and then creating a life that is in support of that truth. Because going about it this way, trying to get that opportunity to do it this way, not only is it the more expensive route, Jasmine, but it comes with the destruction of your legacy, because people are going to now know that you lied. They're going to know that you're a manipulator. It's going to stain your legacy. It's going to stain the integrity of the work that you've done. And more importantly, it's going to further push people away from the church, which is really tragic, because when all these men and women of God act up, all it does is injure Christ. All it does is injure people who would otherwise be inspired, be compelled, be in love and in relationship to Christ. And why do that when you can literally just go exist in your truth? Because going about it this way, there is no redeeming quality in this. It's completely cowardice. But cowards do really cowardly shit. Cowardly people who are also narcissistic, they can never do the integral thing. It always has to be through opportunity. It always has to be produced. It's sad and it's tragic. Because as I've been saying this whole time, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when the world knows that you lied and that you called the truth tellers liars? What is the world supposed to do with that? How do you think that's going to look and turn out for you? And what about your children? What about your family? What about your wife and how stupid you're going to make them all look? And what is the church sector going to do? To all the heathenistic hoes in the church sector who are on Bernard's side, what are you going to do? What are you going to say about your cheater? What are you going to say about your liar? What are you going to say about the cosplaying of being an archbishop in a 40-year-long faithful marriage to his wife, who is having an affair with his subordinate? Deeply grieved and enraged and wanting his get back on Matthew Stevenson, Justin, and Larry on top of that. Holding a higher ethical bar for everybody else but his fucking self while talking about spiritual fucking hygiene and ain't got a bit of spiritual deodorant on himself. What are you going to say? Because I don't want to hear the same shit that we got to hear now. Oh, why? We don't need the audios. Why do the audios matter? Oh, so you don't care all of a sudden, conveniently now, that your leader is a fallen angel? You don't care that he's a liar? You don't care that he's hurting someone? You don't care? And you're not interested in the proof? But when Larry was saying the things he was saying about Jake's, y'all was demanding the proof. Where's the proof, Larry? Where's the proof, Larry? Where's the proof, Larry? Where's the proof? But now that we have proof, and that proof is going to be made available, hypothetical, responding to the suit, all of a sudden now you want to decenter the truth. This is so fascinating to me. Oh, okay. So the truth only matters depending on who the truth is about. As long as the truth has to do with people that y'all accept and y'all are choosing to cherish, even if it's despite someone else. Oh, y'all don't even care if they're a good person. Y'all don't care if they're an extortionist. Y'all don't care if they lying. Y'all don't care if they abuse their power. Y'all don't care if they're unfaithful to their wives. Y'all don't care if they're lying to their church members. Y'all don't care. Only when it comes to y'all enemies. Only when it comes to people y'all don't like. Do the truth. Oh, got it. Got it. Yeah. And maybe the truth is, right, is that Bernard is tired of it all. Maybe Bernard is not only tired of the life he created out of the lie, but for all we know, Bernard may be an occultist cosplaying as a Christian, because a lot of people have caught him out for not really being Christian, because what he really teaches is a lot of occultism. What he teaches is a lot of mysticism. It just seems that he just uses the Christian worldview as a way to talk about mysticism and occultism, but that's really what he's into, is the metaphysics. And there's nothing wrong with that, but once again, it just comes back to like the inauthenticity of it all. And maybe Bernard is tired of it all, and maybe that's why he doesn't care if this suit destroys it all. It destroys the shield and secrecy around his actual identity. He doesn't care if it injures his legacy as a bishop, because maybe he's tired, and this is his way of retiring from a life that he's been over for a long time. Maybe he even resents it to some degree, because the same Christian religion that he's filtering mysticism through is the same one that also created the lie around his personal life, made him feel pressured to have to show up as a heterosexual man entirely, made him feel pressured to have to obtain a wife, etc. And so maybe there's a resentment that he has toward the religion of Christianity. And maybe this is his way of ultimately retaliating against the whole fucking system. Like, in some way, it's actually like, it's tragic. I believe that Bernard is a pitiful person, and I believe that he's a deeply sad human being, and that he's trapped in a lot of closets, not one just about his orientation, but his spiritual identity. And I believe that he is wanting to bust out of the fucking seams, and he's sick of it. Probably can't take any more of it. When Bernard was in that conversation with Justin, talking about how he's just tired, he's tired of people backstabbing him, he's tired of the pressure, the financial pressure, I was listening to a man who's tired, and he's lived this life for decades now. Bernard is tired, and he doesn't know how to just walk away in order to satisfy the burden of his comfortability. So, like a narc, he's taken a violent way out, almost like a rebellious way out. And I don't feel sorry for him in doing so and how it's going to injure him, but what I do feel sorry about and who I do feel sorry for in him doing it this way, in this cowardly way, I feel sorry for Christ. I feel sorry for the church having one more person that they believed in now going down in flames, going down in pure scandal and ratchetness, and how that's going to impact people's view of Christ and people's view of the church, and how it's just going to further lead to more church hurt. And we can have another conversation on another day about the way that Christianity and the way that the Abrahamic faiths create people like Bernard, how they create the Christian Abrahamic down low community. Because people like Bernard don't exist within a vacuum. They are a byproduct of a culture and a system and a socialization where this is the end product. And so we can't even talk about Bernard without talking about all the other variables that create someone like this. Childhood trauma that goes unhealed, childhood abuse that goes unrectified. That's a whole nother conversation. And because we seem to be the only motherfuckers who not afraid to have the conversation, we're going to do it. Since the church sector is interested in, to some degree, shielding Bernard just because they don't like Larry, we can't count on them to have the conversations that we're going to have, and we don't even call ourselves church sector. And yet we have a lot more spirituality and a lot more of a consciousness and a lot more of a divinity about ourselves than dumb people do. And they're the ones who carry the name. They're the ones who carry the name. They're the ones who carry the name of church sector and God and Christ. Yeah. So we're going to do what these hoes don't, what these hoes won't, what these hoes can't, what these hoes ain't. Because that's what we do here. Okay, I think I'm complete. Now, I will be coming back to effectively drag every bitch. I have some names I need to call. Courtney and her barren ass womb, get ready, bitch. Satan James and his no neck, get ready, bitch. Like, there's a lot of bitches, like, we're going to go down a roster. We're going to go down a roll call. Okay. So at some point, I don't know when, because, you know, we have other things to do. But on that day, because I've decided there is going to be a day. But I'm going to make sure that I'm really feeling it, baby. That I'm really feeling it, baby. And we're going to get out here, baby. And we're going to go down the roll call. And we're going to see who's present and who isn't. Okay, great discussion. There has been a great 3 hours, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, honey. I cannot believe I went live at 3 a.m. It's such a weird time to live stream, but I kind of like it. It's like loud and quiet all at once, child. Okay? It's interesting. If you enjoyed everything the King does here, please donate to the platform, honey. Y'all know the King does it, child. Y'all can always donate on Cash App at $Consciouztv and or paypal.me/Consciouztv. Y'all can email me all the tea. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on Instagram. And of course, you know, I have great respect for the law. And if I have to actually respond to the suit, I am looking forward to my day in court. I vehemently, categorically deny all claims against me, and I have 100% faith in the justice system as well as my attorneys. Oh, yes, I do. Any questions that you guys have? Thank you so much, Sean. I'm so glad you guys got to be here. And grand rising to everybody who's just coming in. We are on our way out, some of us. Make sure you guys thumbs up and share. And if you have any questions, you can list them below. And I will see you guys later. All right. Peace.